When it comes to making claim, the military say, well, LRA left Uganda because of our firepower. We do not deny that. We are only saying that that firepower was not used until 23 years down the line. Where was it before? ICC also says LRA has gone to talk in Juba because of the indictment summons. I tell them, you sort out that one with the UPDF because they also say they are the ones that send these people there. You are also claiming the same. But we know that the cultural institution and the religious leaders lauded an appeal that those who want to come, they should use the amnesty law to come out. And as a result, Amnesty Commission here would tell you that up to 6,000 plus came out respecting the call made by cultural institutions and the religious leaders. Someone will say it is our firepower. Say, okay, let it be it. ICC will say it is our warrant. We say, let it be it. But the only regret I'm having is that this war has not been concluded. And that creates a very dangerous precedent that future conflict in this country need not be concluded the way that of LRA and Uganda government has not been concluded. This is a dangerous precedent which has been set.
I believe that the problems faced by northern Uganda today are still uniquely problems of political violence. And I think in this sense, the war is not yet over. But what I want to argue is that if we change our perspective, if we don't look at northern Uganda's problem as being one of catching up, we can still make out a very important role for human rights defenders today. As I mentioned, there have been rumors and reports and fears about external actors looking to acquire Acholi land for large plantations, and like a century ago, today's justification for taking this land is once again development. And I think we only need to look at the recent public letter by Mayor Madvani, which was published in the Monitor, to see how this kind of reasoning works. He says, quote, "This land is currently totally free of inhabitants in an extremely isolated area. We hope to seriously work closely with all stakeholders and develop the project so that it will be a landmark in northern Uganda for all citizens who will positively benefit." He promises that, quote, "the cane payment made at Amuro will translate into enormous development and will improve the standard of living and livelihood of thousands of individuals in Amuro district." Now, I think what we see is an experiment in what has been called disaster capitalism. Disaster capitalism takes advantage of crises, finds places that are in crises, where local authority and local political power is broken down, where society is vulnerable, and then moves in order to push through changes, generally privatization, especially around land, commodification of land or other resources, and takes advantage of these communities that are in crisis, that are particularly vulnerable, in order to push through changes that would be impossible during normal times. It's an experiment that in a sense failed in the South because of the resistance to the Mabira forest giveaway, but is now being tried here in the North using, once again, the language of partnership and development. It's a product of global ecological crises energy crises, financial crises, and food security crises. And these are not going away. We can see that how far these global forces can push the process of land grabbing if we look at a place like the Gambela region in Ethiopia, where hundreds of thousands of people are being forcibly evicted by the military in order to clear land that's going to be taken over by Indian and Chinese companies to grow food to import back to their own countries because of food insecurity in India and China. In the Monitor of last week, there was a report where one petitioner against the land takeover stated that, quote, if they try to use force against our people, there will be another LRA in the name of land. Another said, quote, if the government uses forceful means, people will destroy the Madhvani sugar plantation. Now, a violent struggle against land grabbing would be extremely destructive. It would lead to militarization, it would lead to mass arrests, it would lead to probably the arrival of private security contractors. Now, fortunately, I think that scenario can be avoided if a nonviolent civil struggle against land grabbing succeeds. And for this to happen, I think that groups like Human Rights Focus will need to put together coordinated, comprehensive, but uncompromising strategies to prevent land dispossession so that people at risk of losing their land do not turn to violence out of desperation. So I think human rights defenders remain deeply needed, as do their critical voices, and does their uncompromising commitment against brutality and for human life with dignity.
This is just the beginning of a long time to come for Yuri for now to remain as solid an organization that will live.
I'm now leaving the organization in a very able hands. Over the years, we've been able to build a team. Francis is not he's not a stranger in this area. He has been with us for more than 5 years when he joined. I remember when we defended some 2 girls who were raped by UPDF in a away camp, and the court awarded them 82 million. We ran a publicity in the press, in the WBS television. The military from Uganda, from Human Rights Desk in Bombo, came here looking for me. I had gone to Kampala. So yeah, we saw your press statement on TV about this thing. Can you tell us more so that we can investigate further this allegation? And the guy who came to me was a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. So I told him, my friend, you as a lawyer, how do you call court judgment allegation? Court judgment ceases to be allegation. Those are facts. Then a meeting was called in the barracks when I'd gone to Kampala, calling all NGOs. We thought it was for security reasons. URFO was represented by about 4 people. One of them, Francis Goretti, I don't remember the other 2. When they reached there, the meeting turned out to be URFO roasting. Why Ankunda was there? Why did URFO take this case to Arua? Why did they carry publicity which is very adverse to the military? They would only point at those who are not from URFO. Francis put up his hands among others, and Kunda would not point at him. Francis did exactly what I would have done if I was there, because for me to talk, I don't need permission from anybody. I just got up and talked. And Francis did just that. So When Donald says he's not surprised that Francis is where he is now, it is because of such attributes. Human rights needed someone like Francis. We say in Acholi that fear is not a shield. Fear cannot shield you.
And there we go. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. Farewell to James. Farewell.